What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily, and in this video, we are checking out Samsung's cheapest phones, the Galaxy A07s. And that's plural because there are actually two of them. In Samsung's budget-friendly A-series lineup, the A0-somethings have always been the absolute entry-level devices. And while they do come with a lot of compromises, if you just need a phone, any phone, and you want it to be a Samsung, then this has been that option for you. At least if you're not considering something older, which might also be pretty cheap and frankly a better choice. Nevertheless, these A07s are the current cheapest Samsung phones for 2026. And there are two of them because one is a 4G LTE only model and the other is a 5G phone. That is not the only difference between these two, by the way, which contributes to some confusion. And each one of these phones is officially available only in select regions. I wouldn't blame you if you're already baffled by just the sheer existence of both of these. Really, unless they're being given away for free or you have no other options, I don't know that I'd consider either one. But regardless of my own harsh opinions, I still wanted to take some time to talk about them, compare them, show you both the good and the bad, and hopefully this is helpful if you are maybe considering an A07 right now, but really you should just get the A17 instead. It's not even a close decision. So first things first, let me just quickly unbox them, and right off the bat, Samsung even lists totally different selling points or standout features for each phone. The 4G A07 has a slim design, powerful performance, and 6 major Android updates guaranteed, while the A07 5G lists a slightly bigger 6,000 mAh battery, dual main 50 megapixel cameras, which arguably isn't all that accurate and is the same as the A07 4G, and also 6 Android updates. Weird things to highlight on both phones, frankly, but who am I to question Samsung's marketing team? I'm just gonna slice into both of these boxes here real quick because if you've seen one Samsung unboxing at this point, you've pretty much seen them all. First up is this 4G A07, which is looking really nice in this dark green color scheme. I think this is even unique to this specific phone. And then here is the 5G A07 in a shiny metallic light violet finish, which honestly also looks pretty good. And as far as what else comes inside the boxes here, just the usual stuff. A SIM ejector tool, a simple USB-C cable for charging, and a quick start guide. Like I said, nothing really special or different, and it's the exact same unboxing experience for both phones. As we get these both powered on and set up, let me first talk about pricing and where in the world you'd be able to buy these, because these are sort of special circumstance smartphones. Samsung says these A07s are only available in select regions. And as of right now, neither one is officially sold in the US. But for Europe, South America, many places in Asia, and a handful of other regions, you'll see one of these two phones offered for sale. And pricing, well, it can vary quite a lot. The 4G A07 is, of course, going to be the cheaper option. I've seen it as low as $100 now since it has been out for a few months. And the 5G A07 launched closer to like $175. Either way, you should be able to buy both of these for well under the $200 price point of Samsung's A17 5G, which again, only counting the current Samsung smartphones for 2026, makes these A07s the cheapest Samsung smartphones available right now. And well, just looking at these two, yeah, they do look pretty cheap. Physically, they're not actually that different. They're both 6.7-inch phones. That's the visible screen area from corner to corner. And yeah, those bezels though. This is a design straight out of 2019 that I can't believe Samsung is still allowed to keep reusing. But I suppose this chunky front display design helps keep the costs down, but they're still big-sized phones, which is great, and you get a lot of screen to enjoy your content. Around back, you saw already the very striking couple of color options for these phones. They both actually have different options, and technically they're different finishes altogether. The 4G A07 has this sort of lined design or striped pattern. You can't feel it with your finger, but it's there. And the 5G A07 is the matte metallic with that color shifting deal. I think these are super cool looking phones from the back at least, and it beats the dull and drab, barely any color options on the more expensive devices nowadays. No surprise here with the build, these are plastic phones with plastic frames. They don't feel that cheap though, and remember on the box of the 4G A07, it listed its slim 7.6mm design. Well, that is true. The 5G A07 is a whopping 0.6mm thicker and about 15 grams heavier. But like, is that a feature? I don't think so. What's kind of cool with these phones is on the left side, the SIM card tray still supports expandable storage via a micro SD card. And I think these are the last Samsung phones to offer this now. The super depressing caveat is that storage prices are literally 4 times higher than they were a couple of years ago. I paid $32 for this SD card, and now it's $132. Wow, that's actually crazy. These phones both start at 64 gigabytes of onboard storage. They can be spec'd up to 128 gigabytes, or in the case of the 4G A07, a possible 256 gigabytes, which is kind of odd. So maybe seeking out a higher spec phone is now the better deal than popping in an SD card, but I don't even know anymore. On the right side, both phones have the same volume buttons and power buttons that double as the fingerprint sensors for unlocking. So the old school physical finger button sensor, and this is fine, I guess. Not really unexpected for phones like these, again, especially if the goal is to keep the prices down. There's nothing really at the top of the phones, and at the bottom, the main loudspeaker next to the USB-C port for charging, and then they both also still have the OG headphone jack. Kind of bothers me a little bit that the top one there is so off-center, but it's also something very few phones still have. You've got those selfie cameras there protruding out towards the top, and around back, technically 2 camera lenses, but really only one useful one on each phone that actually functions. So while these phones look the same and have the same name, I guess, the rest of the specs and features are actually all different. And I'll just say up front that the 5G A07 is the decisively better phone in every measurable way. No surprise there. When it comes to the screens, these are both PLS LCD panels. 6.7 inches, like I mentioned earlier, and still 1600 by 720 resolution for a measly 262 pixels per inch scattered across these big size displays. The spec difference here is in the refresh rates. The 4G A07 is 90 Hz, while the 5G A07 is 120 Hz. I'm not sure that's an outright decision maker, but what is just the fact that neither of these screens is very good to begin with. Looking past the thick black borders and even ignoring the actual technical specs, just visually, these are dim, dull, low-res screens covered by a cheaper glass that gives off a ton of glare, which makes them even harder to see and enjoy. In consideration of every other compromise these super cheap A07s have, the screens are definitely the most disappointing or most frustrating, since the screens are what you're looking at. It's what makes a smartphone, and cheaping out here in the year of our Lord 2026 just doesn't make much sense anymore. Leave everything else alone with these phones, give them 1080p resolution AMOLED screens, even at 90 Hz, that would be fine. And I think there wouldn't be much more to even complain about. But I suppose these subpar screens are the main reason one might consider going one pip up to the A17 after all. There's always got to be a reason to spend more money on the better device, right? Another area of compromise, which feels even more unnecessary, is the lack of a dual speaker setup on both of these phones. The solo bottom loudspeaker is also a bit too quiet. Anything less than 70% volume is just too hard to hear. And I can't imagine a proper stereo speaker setup would have cost more than a couple of nickels when manufacturing this phone. Best to stick with using the headphone jack, I guess. Now, I said earlier that nearly everything between these two phones is different besides their outward appearances, and that the 5G A07 is better. And that's all still technically true, but inside, these two phones have processors that differ in name, but not so much in capability. The 4G A07 is powered by the MediaTek Helio G99, while the 5G A07 gets the MediaTek Dimensity 6300. If you care to compare performance scores, you'll have to squint your eyes and really look closely to see a difference. And with more in-depth testing and scoring, it's been determined that the advantage in favor of the 5G A07 might be 7 to 10% at most. But frankly, in my opinion, there's just not enough here to justify a decision strictly based on performance alone. The bigger factor, spec-wise, is the 5G A07's 5G network capabilities, obviously. Everything else internally that makes up these phones, performance and speed numbers, just isn't significant enough to have a clear winner. In the real world, these phones do generally perform okay, but I think they're plagued more by their 4 gigs of RAM than the processors. And while I know RAM prices are also now through the roof, I think 6 or 8 gigs of RAM should just be the standard for all smartphones nowadays. You can spec these phones up with their RAM, but at some point the cost probably outweighs just getting the next pip up in the smartphone lineup. When it comes to software, both phones do have a 6-year OS update guarantee, which is great. These phones won't be outdated e-waste anytime soon, but the 4G A07 was actually first released a while ago, last August in some regions of the world, and it shipped with Android 15. So technically the 4G A07 will have its final update 1 year before the 5G A07, which shipped with Android 16. I'm not sure that's a huge difference maker either, and while these phones do get the familiar Samsung and One UI experience, they lack, well, any intelligence or Galaxy AI features whatsoever. That might be a plus if you are anti-AI, but some folks might actually have some FOMO at this point, since arguably the software enhancements have been most of the upgrade for Samsung's higher-end phones from the last couple of years. That's more of a factor in my mind in just choosing these phones versus something a bit more pricey. Even the mid-tier A-series phones now have a little more intelligence. All in all, these phones really are just for folks who need to do the basic smartphone stuff and just generally stay connected to the world. Not much more than that. And between the two, I don't see any performance advantage or disadvantage either way. So remember earlier how the 4G A07 was advertised as being slim, like it was some sort of selling point? Well, on the opposite side of that, we have the thicker 5G A07, which lists one of its selling points, the 6,000 mAh battery, which is bigger than the 4G A07's 5,000 mAh battery, and probably was a result of the fraction of a millimeter difference. I think 100 out of 100 people would just prefer a bigger sized battery. So this is a nice check mark in the column of the 5G A07. But everything else, their 25-watt wired charging speeds and lack of any wireless charging support, that's all the same. I think day to day, the 5G A07 is going to yield you an extra couple of hours of regular use. Though I and a lot of other people find these budget phones to be all-day devices and then some, even without the battery boost, simply because folks don't push these phones as hard as they do with the flagships. Your results will vary, of course. Everyone's smartphone usage is different, but a bigger battery is a bigger battery, and that's something I'll always prefer over thinness. Finally, when it comes to the cameras around back, both phones appear to have the same dual camera setup, but only one part of that statement is correct. These phones do seem to have the same cameras, but they're not really dual lenses. The main lens for photos and videos is a 50 megapixel shooter. The secondary lenses, they're not ultra wide or even macro, certainly not telephoto. They're unnamed auxiliary lenses. Helper lenses, basically. They're 2 megapixel depth cameras, which takes me back to the days of the first portrait pictures on smartphones. I'm not saying it's a totally useless addition, and plenty of modern flagship phones have depth sensors still today, but with so much reliance on software and after-the-shot image processing, I do think the physical addition of this secondary lens was mainly to just make it look like there's a decent camera module here. Inside the camera apps, there's nothing different and nothing too surprising. In fact, it's a pretty limited selection of features from start to finish by today's standards. And by the way, the selfie cameras are the same here too. 8 megapixel lenses on both up front. So you might think that the photos would look the same too, but boy, are you wrong about that. For whatever reason, the default look for the 5G A07's photos is this unbelievably cool blue and oversaturated color balance that looks comical compared to the dull, neutral, and frankly more accurate images on the 4G A07. The selfie shots also gave me this amazing beauty filter. And I checked, there's no auto-enabled filter or color profiles on the 5G A07. This is literally just how the photos look out of the box. So yeah, really bizarre. And while these phones can obviously take plenty of pictures and videos, I think you should probably let your friend over there with the better phone take some pictures for you instead. Frankly, it's difficult to understand now why these A07s even exist in Samsung's lineup. I understand there are a couple arguments to potentially be made. Some regions of the world don't have full 5G network coverage or any 5G network coverage, so a 4G LTE phone makes sense. But why does it have to be so low spec? The low spec makes both of these phones affordable as an entry-level device, but smartphones have been around now for 20 years, and the base smartphone spec for even the cheapest smartphone on Earth should probably be higher than this now. Is Samsung even selling enough of these phones to justify producing them? Or are they simply mixing together all the remaining parts inventory they still have left over from like 8 years ago to build these phones and just sending them out just because? These are questions I'll probably never have an answer for, but there's one question I have a firm stance on. Should you buy either of these A07s? No, definitely not. But what do you guys think? Would you rock one of Samsung's cheapest phones? Did you buy one already? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.